So, the meat of today, as a single podcaster, no guest, today is to finally discuss with the world my true passion, which is JonBenét Ramsey. Yes, it's time. If you know me, you know JBR, baby. Let's go. So, I feel like I have a lot of people I know that know the story, or so they think. They don't. And I just wanted to give like the quickest synopsis possible for no other reason than that I think it's really fascinating. And if at any point you feel like tuning out or turning off this podcast, now would be the time, because this isn't really relevant to any life situation besides my own satisfaction. Okay, so on December 25th, 1996, JonBenét Ramsey was found. Okay, sorry, messed up. JonBenét Ramsey was a little girl living in Boulder, Colorado. She was a beauty pageant contestant. She was the daughter of Patsy and John Ramsey, second marriage for John, at least. I don't know, doesn't matter. It was Christmas night. They had a great Christmas, which I'm so glad that she went missing / died post-Christmas, because wouldn't that suck to die right before Christmas? So at least she got a good one in. But anyway, she went to bed on the night of December 25th with plans to wake up with her family really early to travel via their private jet. And her mom woke up to go make like a cup of tea or coffee in the morning and came upon a 3-page ransom note that was pretty much from this organization saying they had JonBenét and they wanted, I think it was like $180,000 worth of ransom. And it's the longest ransom note in history. And which is really significant, because why? The ransom note is just so multifaceted. And I'll start by saying that it's multifaceted because it's 3 pages. It's written out, handwritten, but still 3 pages is long. And the paper and the pen it was written on were found to be inside the home. It was not the intruder's pen nor paper. So, and there's also a halfway written ransom note found in the trash. So there is an intruder, if you so believe this theory, which I do, and I'll come back to. There is an intruder coming into this home to write and then rewrite a ransom note with a pad and pen they found. And this is really the big problem with the intruder theory, I think, is if you're going into a home, that's just scary. I mean, even if you know the layout, just being in there and then trying to find enough light and be quiet enough in the middle of the night to write for 15 plus minutes at a time and then place it. I don't know about it. It's fishy. I understand. Whatever. Patsy came down to find the note on the stairs saying that JonBenét had been kidnapped. And obviously she's frantic. And I'm saying this, the way I'm telling this story is from the perspective that I think that the family, everyone in the family, parents, brother, everyone is innocent. So that's how I'll be telling the story. But if you find this note, you're going crazy, right? Like, she runs upstairs to JonBenét's room, nowhere to be found. Their son, Burke, is soundly asleep. She freaks out. I think calls some friends and family and then calls 911, and then everyone infiltrates the house. She's nowhere, which is to be expected because she's kidnapped for ransom. So now it's about bringing the FBI in to set up the phone tap in case when and if the intruder calls for ransom instructions, because that was included in the note that they will be calling. That call never comes, which is another mark against the family, I guess you could say. And this is obviously an active crime scene. I don't know if in the 90s, and given this scenario, that it doesn't seem they viewed it that way. And I don't blame the family for that, because if someone was missing, I would also call anyone and everyone and just have everyone come over and look everywhere. What can we do? Anyway, everyone looked everywhere. She's nowhere to be found. But somehow, John, the father, and his friend go downstairs to the basement, and they open up a room, a small room that's isn't really utilized, and they find JonBenét covered with a blanket, a sheet. She has a garrote around her neck and has been choked to death. And John immediately picks her up. Again, not a great look because contamination, but I also feel as if I would do the same. I mean, we've never been in that situation. To him, it's his little girl. He picks her up, brings her upstairs, lays her down. She's blue, she's cold, she's obviously deceased. And that's when this whole thing just goes haywire, because obviously there's no call coming in because she's there. And I think that's where everyone's so confused about why the effort of going into the house, writing the ransom note with the fear of being caught, just to kill the little girl and leave her in the house. And to that, I don't have an answer. The only plausible answer I can think of is that she either was making too much noise, and the circumstances to get out of the house through this tiny window that was attached to that basement room was implausible. And it just was a situation where maybe too much force was used, intentionally or unintentionally. She died, they got out, the killer has never been found. And yeah, pretty much the other clues to this situation was there was a suitcase found beneath the window. The window was open, and a human, male or female, human body could fit through to access that area. The other weird thing, though, is the materials. Some of the materials found to kill her were from the home. The mother was a painter, so the mechanism used to choke JonBenét was a rope with a paintbrush, Patsy's paintbrush. So again, it kind of comes back to the same thing as the ransom note. Do you enter the house with the intention of, I will find a murder weapon when I get in the house? Seems weird, but if memory serves me correctly, I don't believe the rope, or she was also found with tape over her mouth. I don't believe the rope or the tape are from inside the house. And also, just a side note, which is really cool, I think, is I've always liked this case. It's very intriguing on many aspects, but a few months ago, actually probably a year ago, who knows, there was at the Patrick Beaver Memorial Library in Hickory, North Carolina, there was a special seminar, is not the right word, a special discussion where they were discussing the JonBenét Ramsey case, which is just so interesting. I'm like, well, I'm glad to know I'm not a Looney Tune by myself. There's others of us out there, cool, girl power. So I drugged my whole family. I dragged my whole family, my mom, my stepdad, and Tommy, my brother, to come after work to this hour and a half discussion on the JonBenét Ramsey case, which the main speaker was Jameson, which is a woman, a housewife in Hickory that has become obsessed with the JonBenét Ramsey case. It just is coincidence that we both like it, but like if you think I talk about JonBenét Ramsey, this woman has flown into another hemisphere on her dissection, obsession, knowledge of this case. She has met John and Patsy Ramsey on multiple occasions. There's the train, hey girl. And has flown out to Colorado, has met with lead investigators, has so much information for a normal civilian. It's honestly incredible. But she spoke about it, and I was so enlightened to find out that Jameson, which is her stage name, screen name, whatever, her stripper name, that she also believes in the intruder theory, because the going theory through popular media is that the parents did it. And as I've mentioned, there is, I wouldn't say substantial evidence, but evidence that is hard to place for the parents to be innocent, but nonetheless doesn't matter. And either the parents did it, or the biggest one I think was the CBS special maybe a year or two ago, where the blame was heavily put on Burke Ramsey and him accidentally killing JonBenét with a flashlight and the parents trying to cover it up, which just doesn't make any sense to me, because this is a normal, well-to-do family. If one of your children accidentally hurts one of your other children and you're a rational person, which by all accounts they are, and they have great reputations and are sane-minded people, your instinct is not, let me figure out how to not frame my 9-year-old. I mean, he's a 9-year-old kid. He's not going to go to jail because he accidentally hit his sister too hard, right? Your instinct isn't going to be to like come up with this elaborate story and write all these ransom notes and call the police and like, it's just way too intricate for that narrative to make sense. And it doesn't make sense. And shouts out to Burke Ramsey for suing the ever-living shit out of CBS, I think it's CBS, for running that special and blaming him. So I think he is living well on his millions, because he did settle that civil lawsuit for a hefty sum, from what I read, from what my friends tell me. So all that to come back to that, I then, after hearing this discussion, I reached out to Jameson and we met at Cafe Gouda for all my 828 folks and had like a 2-hour discussion just about everything. And she's out there, but she knows her stuff in and out, and super interesting to really talk to someone so close to the source and hear her thoughts, which is that it was an intruder, and her decision making is based on the fact that there are taser marks on JonBenét's body, which would mean that maybe that was used to silence the child in question, JBR. And there's also blood in her underwear. There's also unknown male DNA in her underwear. So it's just a lot of things that don't add up to it being an intruder. And unfortunately, none of the physical DNA, unknown DNA, has ever been matched. And that's the hard part about it. And I personally believe that the answer lies in that unfound DNA. So anyway, just had a lot of really cool discussions with Jameson. She's been a big part of a lot of huge televised specials. Like I said, she's worked with investigators and people close to the case, with the family. So it's just really interesting. So I guess all that to say is we really still don't know, but that is kind of the big picture, and I'm sure everyone's dying for me to go and not dying. Sorry, JonBenét, it's too close. Jokes too close to home for you. No. Dying for me to go into more detail. I don't think they are, but yeah, that's it. And the weird thing, here's the fun little Isabella fun fact about all this, is Jameson and I figured out that her daughter, Becky, the balloon lady, blew up balloons for my 7th birthday. So it's all coming home. It's all in one. Everything's universal. Cyclical. I'm coming back. Yes. So there you have it. There's obviously so much more to this story, and it's so frustrating, I think, for everyone that is interested in this case to not know where the truth lies. I mean, I pray every night that when I go to heaven, the answer appears to me, and then you can shoot me straight back down to hell. That's the only thing I want out of heaven, is to find out who killed JonBenét Ramsey. Or maybe I'm her reincarnated. What do you guys think? I kind of look alike. So yeah, anyway, I'll leave it at that. 15 minutes is already too long to be talking about this. So anyway, please let me know your thoughts and who you think did it. Shouts out to Jameson. Shouts out to Becky the Balloon Lady. And rest in peace to JonBenét.